Hey guys, Coach Santiago here, and this particular video is going to be something that I'm sure a lot of travel coaches that I know in the marketplace are going to appreciate. A lot of people think I don't like travel coaches or I like to beat up on travel coaches. The good ones are worth every dollar you'll ever spend. It's the other guys that we won't mention in this video that are really the problem that are slowing down the market. But one thing I want to I'm talking to the parents today, but I want you to kind of understand a little bit better some of the frustration that you might be having. And I hear this just time and time again from parents who spend what they feel is a lot of money, make a big investment. A coach gives them a great recruiting spiel. They come in, they feel the warm and fuzzies. They see all the beautiful people up on the wall who've gone off and done great things, who are also a part of that travel program. And then they get in the program and they just find it difficult to get a hold of the guy or girl at the top because they have a question. And I just want to shed a little bit of light and in defense to them, as well as also just give you guys a better understanding because I lived it for 15 years and I understand the difficulties of just not bringing and starting a program and bringing to life a program, but also maintaining those relationships that were so important in the beginning. So the first thing I want to shed some light on is the hours of the day are very, very long for travel coaches. Generally, they're at the facility or training or doing something till 8, 9, potentially 10 o'clock. By the time we get home, we're wired. We're rocking and rolling mentally. We just got done from training and we've got a bunch of energy. So usually we don't put our head down to rest till about midnight, maybe even 1 o'clock in the morning, depending on what's going on. We haven't eaten yet, so usually we have to stop and get some food. And then, we may be back at the facility at 9, 10, 11 o'clock, depending on what, our schedule is for that day. Then we have to kind of tackle the issues of the business. Hey, this coach has a problem with this, or that coach has a problem with this, or I've got 50 emails that I haven't returned yet, or I've got to clean the facility, or I've got to buy this new piece of equipment, or this piece of equipment just broke down. And at 3:30, at 3 o'clock, here comes today's lessons, today's training, today's group training, today's parent meeting, and it just goes on and on and on. And then obviously, as you guys know, the weekends are usually tied up with a 10 to 12 hour per day commitment at an event, depending on what part of the country that you're in. If you're in some cold climates, those weekend hours are going to be spent training. Again, using off-peak times so that it's available and convenient for you, but we may be 6 a.m. on a Saturday all the way to 11 p.m. on a Saturday with some breaks in the middle, but that's when kids are available. So if we're training or we're coaching or we're doing lessons, we've got to be available when the kids are available. And the same thing goes for a Sunday. Holidays, we're usually doing a camp. So the hours are just very, very long and strenuous. So just understand that if a coach, and again, we're talking about the guys and gals out there that are giving their all, that are really, really respectful, and they do appreciate your investment, that the hours are just very, very long. And so we want to be sensitive to that. The other thing is we've got this thing now that wasn't around when I first got into coaching, smartphones, which we all, I think, will agree, was invented to make us a little bit more efficient. And somebody would think, hey, it probably makes you a little bit more available, and it does. But that availability is now making us unavailable because the texts never stop coming, the emails never stop. We're never away from all sorts of communication, whether it's social media, whether it's texting, whether it's emails, whether it's actual phone calls that are coming in. So the cell phone for a successful travel coach just never stops ringing. I've seen travel coaches that I've worked with as a source of consulting or helping them or just buddies of mine. And I'm not kidding. They have 1,000 unread emails. They have 25, missed calls from that day. Their voicemail is full. And I'm sure some people watching this are nodding their head, yeah, that's my coach. It's just part of the industry. It's really what happens as your program begins to grow. Which brings me to my third point, is they usually don't understand this, and I'm talking about the younger coaches as they get into it. They don't understand this could potentially be a problem so they don't have a team around them to help them manage that. Now, some guys in the country do a great job. I mean, I know some guys that are doing phenomenal things with 50, 60 teams because they've built up an infrastructure around them. But most people who go and open up a facility or open up a program don't generally have a team or the funds to have a team around them in the beginning, and they just keep running and growing and growing and growing. And they may bring in more coaches, which again helps us at night and helps us with the skills and drills. But they generally don't bring on office people, business people, communication people. They may be depending on some other parents to help them with that, et cetera, et cetera. And if somebody's volunteering their time, you're usually going to get what you pay for in any business. So I just want to shed some light as to the fact that just because your travel coach isn't available doesn't mean he or she is a bad person or they don't care about you anymore. So what can we do about this if you're a parent? Well, in the beginning, when you come onto the program, be honest with them on whatever expectation that you have. And I've had moms come in my office with an iPad and say, "And listen, I've got 4 kids. I need to know this." And I just ask, "What do you need to know, and when do you need to know it by?" And I'll tell you if I can deliver on that or how we can work that out. And I have had some special situations where parents that I knew who let me know up front their communication desires and needs, and they would actually. I remember one person in particular that would call me every Monday at 9 a.m. because that's the agreement her and I made. She was very busy. She had a bunch of stuff going on. She was an entrepreneur. She had 4 kids. She was just into everything. And every Monday by 10 o'clock, her entire week was mapped out. And so her and I agreed, hey, call me at 9 o'clock. I'll give you the skinny for what's going on this week. And I'll let you know if there's schedules that are coming out for a tournament or event, when they'll be available. But so if you're coming into a situation and you don't do that, and then we complain about it on the back end, it really is going to be a source of frustration for everybody. So I would just suggest, as you're coming on board, and they give you the general context of how they get communication out, whatever apps they're using, whatever programs they're using, are they going to use this, that, the other? Once you get past all that general stuff, if there's stuff that you specifically need as a family, reach out to that coach, pull her aside for 5 minutes and say, listen, here's what I need. Can we work together to get this done? And if they're a person of high character, high sense of responsibility, they'll generally either point you in a direction to somebody else or find a way to work that out with you or even for you. So as always, guys, love talking to you guys about this stuff. If I can help you in any way, shape, or form, please reach out to me. And remember, coaching is an action, not a position.